Hey kids, it's Dean from Crypto the WonderDog show. Hey, do you guys remember back in the day, Dr. Ruth? She'd come on. Probably a lot of you guys from the millennial age don't remember. You weren't even alive then. Dr. Ruth was this advisor for sex and love, and she wasn't the most beautiful, charismatic woman on TV, but she had great advice for love. Um, so there's a new way to find love, artificial intelligence, and my friend Violet Lim has created this Viola.AI. It harnesses on artificial intelligence and blockchain technology to be the world's most effective AI advisor. So to have a computer start advising you on love, but I think she's on something here. So I had to talk with her. This is our second time. The first time, man, just the technical issues that we have here at the crypto show. But we're jumping over hurdles and we're getting past them. Electronics here and there, and cables and wires, and I think I need artificial intelligence to come in and clean up my studio here. Um, Before we get into that, we got a new sponsor. Wonderful guys over at mybookie.ag. I don't know what AG stands for. These guys have one of the coolest online gambling sites I have ever seen. Um, if you're kind of rich with crypto and you want to try your hand at crypto gambling, crypto can be a gamble. So you've seen the roller coaster that Bitcoin has been on the last few weeks. Um, but you go to Vegas and uh, you're not gonna. You go to Vegas and you're not gonna be able to throw a Bitcoin down on the table. You can't put Bitcoin into a slot machine, and you sure the hell can't tip with a Bitcoin yet. Those waitresses that come by and hand you those frosty cocktails. Um, but tell you what, you try. But tell you what, you go over to mybookie.ag and you can deposit your Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and the payouts are incredibly fast and totally anonymous. And if you use WonderDog from the promo code, type in WonderDog, you get a 50% bonus on your deposit. Now you cannot do that if you go to Vegas. No one's going to give you a 50% bonus. You go throw $100 down on a blackjack table, they're not going to give you $150 in chips. They're going to give you $100, and they're going to take that right back within a couple of seconds. Okay, so the cool thing about this is that there's sportsbook gambling right from the comfort of your own living room or your office, or you pull over in your car and bet right there. Uh, It's the only place you're going to want to check out. They offer pretty much every sport and league in the world, including esports with League of Legends and Counter Strike. I've never played either one of those, but if you could play video games and make money, that's crazy. In addition, if you're into casino games like blackjack, roulette, or my favorite, craps. Oh my God, I love rolling the bones. And slots, it's a love hate relationship with slot machines. But I got a feeling that my buddies at mybookie.ag, their slot machines are considered to be the loosest on the blockchain. Give it a try. So if you want to get into the action this summer, go to mybookie.ag now and sign up with them using promo code WonderDog to ensure that you're eligible for all of our future promotion and bonuses. Visit Las Vegas from your couch. Try them out today. Once again, that's mybookie.ag using promo code WonderDog. Okay, you guys ready for love? Ready for romance? Ready for this lovely woman, Violet Lim, to take you on a journey of love through the golden sounds of the internet. through the golden sounds of blockchain and cryptocurrencies right here on the WonderDog Show. Okay, you guys ready? Ready to start the show? All right, let's start the show. Wonderful. Okay, so we're back on again, and
Yay!
so how has it been over there? What's going on in your world over there?
Let me see. Since the last we met in the States, actually quite a lot has happened. Yeah. So when we last met, I think we were about to start our public sale. So we did that. However, we probably chose the worst time.
Oh, really?
Like one could have chosen to do the public sale, because I think the market has been pretty bearish, like since about January.
It has been.
Yes. However, the day that we decided to do the sale was the same day that Google announced that nobody can ever advertise again on Google, and I think that was subsequently followed by Twitter and things like that as well. So basically, to cut the long story short, we had a pretty good whitelisted number, but we were quite surprised that after the first couple of days, the sale was not as expected, based on the numbers, based on the conversion rates. So what we did was we surveyed, our whitelisted members to just understand from them, what's the reason they have decided not to take part in the sale yet. And I think about 73% of them, 73% of them actually told us that it's due to market conditions.
Oh, yeah. Really?
Yeah. So as it went along, and then we had a discussion within the team, we discussed with our advisors, and we actually decided to take the decision to pause our public sale. So obviously it was a very tough decision, a very hard decision to make, and potentially, would alienate a lot of our supporters as well. But we really wanted to be fair to everybody who have put their trust and faith in our project, and we thought this is actually the best thing to do.
Yeah.
So we gave all the people who took part in our public sale an option to either to get a refund, because technically they took part in the public sale expecting it to be completed in a month, right? But since we put a halt to it, so it's fair that they have the decision either to continue or to actually get a refund. So we gave them that option, and to our I would say really pleasant surprise, 90% of the public sale participants actually have stayed on.
That's great.
Yeah. So and I think it was really very heartening as well. The team has been very, very touched by some of the messages that we have been getting from the supporters, be it in the Telegram group or be it through email. People would tell us that, okay, don't worry, I really believe in your vision, your mission. Even if you have to postpone this sale, we understand. You're making the right move. This is a fantastic team. We are really very happy to be supporting this project. So I think that also have I would say affirm us that definitely we are on the right track. This is a project that people really can connect with, and they really believe that through what we are doing, we are going to make a difference to the world. So yes, so that's where we are right now. So what we are doing right now is we're actually building our MVP, our minimum viable product. So our targeted launch for our MVP is in May. And
May, okay.
At the same time, we are monitoring the market as well. So our objective is to launch a public sale again at a better time, but not later than June. Yeah. So that's where we are.
Okay. All right. So I'm actually on your site right now, and I know the last time we went through this, we saw that the private sale. You can sign up for the private sale here.
Yep.
You have the about page. Talks about the world's smartest love AI.
Yep, that's right.
And on Found ICO, you rated a 8.2 out of 10. Top
Yep.
Token Tops, you rated a 4.8 out of 5. And
Yep.
ICO Bench, 4.2 out of 5. So great marks, great reviews, great ratings for your ICO here.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Yep. Yes. And so what we want to talk about is what brought you to the idea of having love on the blockchain.
I think it's basically a very a process that took time over like many years in a way. So actually we have already been in the industry for more than 14 years, actually going to be exactly 14 years in a couple of days time. We started off as an offline dating service, like where we actually meet our clients face to face. They come to our office, we find out about who they are, like we actually verify their identity, we make suitable matches based on, after that interview with them, we arrange the date, they go and meet up, and after the date we get the feedback to find out, how did it go, what did they like, what did they not like. So that's actually the space that we started from, right? And over the years we have evolved, we started our own online matchmaking platform. We started our own mobile dating app. In fact, we also have our own education arm as well, in the sense that we actually equip people with the right skill set, with the right mindset to be the best version of themselves, right?
Oh.
Because I think a lot of people, I think a lot of people, when you ask them why they are single, chances are they'll say that, oh, no, I've not met the right one, So the focus is very much on like meeting. But after being in the industry for so many years, we realized that meeting is just part of it. So it's like, if you do not have the right mindset or the right skill set, it doesn't matter like how many dates that I send you out on, chances are it wouldn't work out.
Oh.
So that was really like the what we have learned after being in the industry for such a long time. So of course, all the things that we have been doing, all these various platforms that we have built, it's awesome. We have been able to reach out to 1.4 million users in over 5 countries: Singapore,
Wow.
Malaysia, Hong Kong, Indonesia, and Thailand. But at the same time, if you want to scale this to the next level, our objective is really to help singles all around the world to be able to find the right person, to be in a happy relationship, a fulfilling marriage. So I mean that's our company objective, our BHAG, big hairy audacious goal. In fact, it's actually 1 million happy marriages, right?
1 million.
So yeah.
Wow.
So I think in order to achieve that, it's just too slow, it's very not scalable like what we are doing right now. So I think the idea behind really bringing it onto the blockchain is how do we actually do what we have been doing, but in a more efficient, more a much faster way, right? So I think, everybody in the crypto community, all blockchain enthusiasts would understand that the idea behind blockchain is really, in a way, to work on the trust issue, right? In all the different industries, there are trust issues. And similarly with the dating and relationships industry, there's a huge trust issue as well. It's how do you know the person you're talking to is real? It's not a bot. Yeah. It's not a scam. And it's really who he or she is representing him or herself to be. And if you think about it, that is actually what we do with our first service, right? Where we actually meet people face to face. And the reason why that service have been really popular and have done really well is that people know that, okay, whoever I'm going to meet through this service, this person is real, or like looks exactly like the photo. It's not a bot. It's not a scam because my dating consultant has already met him or her, right? So
Yes.
like what we can do through blockchain in a way is really to kind of be replacing that third party as well. So with our real ID verification, what we are doing is that we are able to then now verify that this person is who he or she say that they are. By firstly, of course, like we will ask for their photo, but not just that, we'll actually verify that against a real-time video scan
A
that
video
we'll
scan?
do.
How do you do that?
Yeah, that's right. So basically, like on the app itself, we will be doing like a real time video scan. Like not for them to just send us their video, but as in then that itself we'll do a video scan, and then we'll also verify that against their social media accounts. So if all of it's like matches, like if it's all thick, then like that result will be hashed onto the blockchain. Yeah, so I mean, again, like
Wow.
that result cannot be changed. Like they cannot, someone cannot like do something about it, right? Because blockchain is immutable; it cannot be changed. And on top of that, we'll also be decentralizing some of the information onto like their mobile devices, because again, like one of the things with using dating sites is like people might not want the whole world to know like who they are or like their information. So that's one part of it. The other part of it is we are actually building an AI. So, other than leveraging on blockchain technology, we are also building an AI. So, like what I've talked about just now with the coaching that we have been doing, is that we realized that coaching has really helped a lot of our users, and it has really helped to, I would say, bring together many people, or really just help people in their whole journey, right, of finding love.
Yes.
Again, it's like how we are doing coaching right now. It's like one-to-one. It's like the user will be talking to like our dating coach.
Wait, so
So
they can actually talk with if you sign up with this, they can actually talk to one of your coaches live.
yeah,
Wow.
they can. Yeah, but I think on top of that, the idea is that we want to make it a lot more scalable, because I mean, like maybe coaches need to sleep, or like coaches
Yeah.
might not be available at some point.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Because
by really,
love never sleeps. Love never
yeah,
sleeps. No.
yeah, exactly. So, like by really training up our AI, of course it would take a bit of time, right? Because the AI would need to continuously learn from the best answers, like given by our coaches, given by our community of experts, or even like our community members. So that's where like part of our tokenomics come from, in the sense that we are rewarding like the community who like give good answers that eventually our AI will use, or like the users can reward other like members or other experts, again, who have given them like great answers or great suggestions or great ideas that they can use as well. So that's part of it. And of course, another point is that smart contracts would be really useful within our marketplace, because our AI, does not only give advice, for example, it also gives recommendations, like, for example, if someone is planning to propose to their girlfriend, like he can then just put out like into Viola.AI that, hey, like I'm planning to propose, what should I do? Like, do you have any great suggestions? And, people like will come in to share their proposal stories, like merchants will come in to share about their venues, like their flowers, their gifts, basically even their proposal services maybe. So from there, the user can then, of course, choose whatever that makes sense for them. And then the merchants can be paid by tokens. The people who gave great advice can again be rewarded by tokens. But all of this are going to be governed by the smart contracts. So in a way, like, merchants will no longer need to worry like, okay, am I going to get paid? Am I going to be paid on time? Or like, like for example, for certain rewards where, they are supposed to be paid, like not just once, but a few times, again, they don't need to worry that, that's not going to happen. So we feel that with this in place, that's also going to increase like the smart, the trust factor, and as a result, that would also encourage like more people to come onto Viola.AI.
Wow. So you're getting people involved with your app where they can get paid for their advice, and people get
Yeah.
paid for asking questions, right? The people that are using this app when if they're looking for advice, they put this out there. Do they get rewarded or?
No, so if they're asking question, then they would put out a reward. So potentially they might say that,
Oh,
okay,
okay.
like I'm, like looking to like give out like 10 Viola tokens, like to the best answer or something like that.
Oh, okay. So the people that are looking advice, they pay for people to give them advice.
Yes,
And
yes,
then the
that's
same
right.
thing in
Yeah,
reverse.
but
Like if somebody asked them for advice, they would get paid to give advice.
yes, yes,
Oh,
yes, exactly. Because I think the idea behind it is that, like people generally like are very helpful and, like would like to help if they can, right? So if you go on to like Quora or Reddit, like people are already doing that. Right,
yes.
but I mean, if you give the best advice, like so, and you get voted up, like what is the best thing you get? You probably like get a best answer badge or something, right? Yeah,
Badge. Yeah.
yeah. So the way we see it is like, if people are going to be putting their time and effort into it, and it's really good and it's helping people, like why not give them an opportunity to be rewarded, and from there like that actually like translate to real money in that sense, right? And from there they can use the tokens to then do something with it, be it like purchase something or like get services through the tokens, through our tokenomics. Yeah.
And we were talking last time that you're going to have like a little marketplace where people can buy flowers and gifts and chocolates and things like that, right?
Yeah, 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 that's right.
And they can
Yeah.
use these tokens to buy those. So if somebody's really good at advice, they could earn a little bit of a nice chunk of change there, where they can start flowering, showering their love with gifts and roses
Yeah.
and things, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah.
All right. And I know last time we went through this, we talked about the challenges that Viola faces and it solves, the lack of verification. And we talked about that last time, where there were a few dating sites that they were putting out fake people. They were creating their own little group of women that didn't actually exist, but it would cause men to stay on the site.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly, right. So that's definitely one of the challenges of this industry. So the reason behind that, I mean, I think like most people, I mean, I can't say all, but I don't think most people like go into business thinking that, hey, like let's create bot and like scam our users.
Probably not. But
So
when they see the
yeah,
membership
probably not.
going down,
Yeah.
and they get
Yeah,
worried,
yeah,
and they have like
yeah,
chairmen, so they have board
yeah,
members that want
yeah,
to get
exactly.
paid. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, absolutely right. So I think like the challenge about this industry is that if people kind of just stay on to just one vertical, which is dating, it's that like you just think about it. It's like if you do such a great job, like your users will leave you because they already achieved their objective, right? They are here to meet someone and they have found someone, right? So they don't no longer need you.
Yeah.
But of course, yeah. Because, and if you are doing such a bad job, then obviously they will leave you as well, right? Because
Of
they are like,
course,
oh, this is
yes.
such a waste of my time and money and effort. So, yeah, so and that's the reason why the churn rate in this industry is so high. Like, we are talking about most users only stay on for like 2 to 4 months, and that's about it. So that's the reason why, some companies actually end up creating bot, right, to kind of lure people to subscribe or resubscribe like at
Yep.
the right time. And this is quite sad. But at the same time, it's something that's very real. So I think this is one part of it, and the other part of it is obviously like the scammers. I mean, like the scamming industry is also a huge one. In fact, like it's a billion-dollar industry.
Yes.
So
Ugh.
I mean, online dating, it's also approximately about a $5 billion industry. So, like when you have like an illegal industry, which is almost as big or even bigger than a legal industry, like obviously we have a big problem here. Yeah. So that's the reason, like why we are doing what we are doing to really help to protect our users. And of course, like we want to like just give more confidence to the singers who are going to be using our service as well.
Yes. And uh, the AI engine is something that obviously none of the other dating apps are going to have, none of the other dating sites
Yeah.
have. So
Yeah. So again, like I mean, just to talk a bit more about that. So that's also like part of the reason why we feel that it doesn't make sense to just be in like one single vertical, which is dating, because like I mentioned just now, it's like people will not stay long with you, right? It's like a 2 to 4 months churn, and we feel that ultimately we are not just here to help people get together, because like if we just help them get together and subsequently like they break up or they get a divorce, I mean, some people might say that, oh, that's really good, that means they need your service again.
yeah,
But
yeah,
but
you hook them up with
but
somebody they know they're going to fail with, so they'll come back to you and get you another one, right? Yeah,
but obviously, like that's not how we see it. Like, our objective is that, if we hook them up or we help them get together, we want them to be happy and to continue to be in the same relationship if possible. Like, but of course, like how can they have a fulfilling relationship? And that's the reason why we created like this AI that actually evolves with the user. From the point that the person is single to the point that he or she is dating, to like engagement, to like marriage, and like even like during that whole entire like marriage journey. So the AI will actually know you very well, right? Because it has been evolving with you, and as a result, would be able to give very applicable, relevant, advice or even recommendations. Yeah.
that's great. It's like you have your own little personal AI assistant walking you through your whole
Yeah.
journey of love,
Yes.
getting you polished up, wear the right thing.
Yep.
Does it help you say the right things? Because sometimes I've put my foot in my mouth and during dates and you know, um,
Yeah.
and then once you get into the relationship, it helps you stay that way, and then it helps
Yeah.
you move that relationship on. Which most women, they get tired of waiting around. 9, 10 years into the relationship, they're like, "Look, put a ring on it, or
Yep.
let's part ways here." So
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes, for sure. Yeah, and I think that the thing is also like, a lot of people like how I put it, it's like they don't think about like seeking relationship advice. Because they just feel that or if like their marriage like is having issues, they won't automatically think that, oh, like let's go find a marriage counselor or find a relationship counselor, because I think a lot of people just kind of feel that, oh, it's not so bad. I'm not at the stage where I really need help. I can sort this out on my own, or like there's
yes,
just a huge stigma attached to it.
yeah,
And actually, I think that that's how it used to be with dating as well. Like, I mean, when we started our business like 14 years ago here in Singapore, here in Asia, like in fact, a lot of my friends think I was crazy. Like I mean, I was in banking, like doing a really nice job that's giving me a nice pay, and they are like, Violet, what's wrong with you? It's like just stay on in banking. Like, why are you going to be a matchmaker? Why are you starting a dating service? Like, nobody ever needs it. Like, everybody who needs it, there's something wrong with them. Like, they must be like single, desperate, or ugly or something, right? Yeah, but I mean, of course, like fast forward 14 years later, like dating is now like completely like normal. Dating service is normal. It's like if you are single, chances are your friend will say, oh, why don't you download a dating app? Like, why don't you try out this service? It's really great. So
yes,
so it's like the way we see it is like the same can happen for like relationship coaching. Like, I mean, people go for like like they find a tennis coach to learn how to play tennis. Like they find a like golf instructor to learn how to play golf, or like improve their swing, or like drop their handicap or whatever, right?
yeah,
So I mean, obviously relationship is like the most important part of their life, like their marriage, like you have a good relationship, you have a happy marriage, like, that's the foundation to like, your home life, your kids, like, I mean, having a happy home life, like that would help you at your work, basically it's like, it's really important, obviously.
yes,
But
yes.
nobody is like taught how to do it. I mean, it's like people just kind of like emulate their parents. So hopefully, like your parents had a good marriage. I mean, if they didn't, then yeah, right.
Yes.
So yeah, so it's like what the other thing that we really want to be doing here is really just making it like just so people don't need to think about it, right? Yeah, like just like yeah, I know I should just talk to someone to see how I should to make my relationship better. So that takes time. But I think like with Viola.AI is that nobody needs to know. It's just an app on your phone. Like you are just like okay, like things are not going quite right. Like who am I going to talk to? Like if I talk to my friends, like we all know that our friends do not always give us the best advice for different reasons.
No, they don't.
Like
No.
yeah. So like maybe because they actually know maybe what's the best advice, but they might not say it because they are worried that if they say that might hurt us. They don't want to hurt our feelings. They do not want to break our friendship, things like that. So so with Viola, like it's just an app on the phone. They can just talk to Viola and say, hey, this is happening. And from there, of course, if like Viola is able to like help them with that, that's awesome. But if like let's say eventually they feel that I want to escalate it a bit further, I do want to like meet someone face to face to talk about it. It becomes something like very natural. They don't feel that like, oh my goodness, it's like I'm going way out of my way. I'm like searching online to find a therapist. Like what's wrong with me? Like what if someone else find out? Yeah. So that's yeah. Yeah. So that's something that we are really looking to do because like ultimately, people sometimes they forget like why they end up in a certain relationship and they kind of rewrite history. It's quite scary.
They fall into the same pattern. They get into the same relationships over and over and over, and they can't figure out why it keeps not working out.
Yeah, exactly. So we feel that with the AI, like it's not just going to be like helping with people with dating, it's not just helping like with gifts and recommendations, but really ultimately like to kind of change the mindset of people like seeking help to improve their relationship or make their relationship better. And it's a normal thing. It's not like a weird thing or bad thing to be doing.
Yeah, and this is a new world, and there's less people going out and meeting, and so it gets harder and harder for people to know how to interact and socialize whenever they're doing all their socializing through a computer or through their texting. They're not actually going face to face, so that the art of talking is going away. So. Having a computer have to teach you how to start being more human again.
I think it's like some people do see the irony in that situation, but at the same time, I think like it's also just kind of trying to ease like to ease that process. Yeah, because like you say, like we are just so used to like just dealing with non-humans, right? In that sense, I mean, if you think about it, like in the past, which I think both of us probably would have that experience, because I remember talking to my associates at work, and like generally the people I work with, like they are like millennials, and it's like they have no recollection of a time where they actually buy tickets. Buy like air tickets or book hotels through a travel agency. Like to them, that's a totally foreign concept.
Yeah, who would do that anymore? Why would you even? Why would do they even have jobs?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I mean, obviously, like right now, we don't do that as well. But at least we have that experience of doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember doing that.
Like, yeah, you remember doing that, right?
Like I remember dialing a phone. I remember the dialing when you had to dial a phone. I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like, it's like there are places that, it's a real shop. You actually go down there and like pay money,
Yes.
To,
before Amazon, there was places called markets that you would actually go down and you would pick things out for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's like some of us, we were part of that transition. Like we remember what it was and how it is right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a whole new generation where they never like even experienced that, and to them it's like, what you mean there was something like that? You mean you used to do that? Yeah.
Yes.
So I think it's something that's like so foreign to them. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, going out and meeting people in real life. Yeah, yeah. So, and so what made you start becoming the love maker, the love matchmaker that you are today? What started that?
So I think, like for me, I've always been very interested to work with people. Like, that's actually the reason why I decided to read law. So I have a law degree. When I read law, it's not so much that, I want to go into like corporate law and things like that. I actually wanted to go into either like criminal law or family law, because I mean, those are the parts of like law which I feel that I'll be working very closely with people. So when I was doing my law degree, I did some internships at law firm, and the person that I was working for, like just shared that he feels that maybe criminal law is not so suitable because you kind of like need to like be in and out of prison. So he just felt that might not be a very conducive place for me. So he suggested why not like focus on family law and find out a bit more about that. So which I did. So when I was like working in his office, like he would give me a lot of cases to read on family law. I would go with him to like the courtroom to just listen to all the various cases on family law. And unfortunately, the more I read and the more I listen, the more depressed I got, basically.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because I mean, like family law is really, in a way, it's really dealing with all the really bad stories. Like,
Yes.
like
Yeah, there's no
people
good
who are
reason to
getting...
go to court, is there?
yeah, exactly. So it's like if you're getting a divorce, and that's also when I realized that getting a divorce is quite similar to getting married. It's just that instead of saying I do to the pastor or the priest or I don't know, the justice of peace, you just say I do to the judge, right? So
Yes.
like I do to like getting divorced. So that was that.
It's like a
The other part
reverse
of it
mortgage.
yeah, it is quite sad. And the other part of it is like it's about like custody, like people fighting for custody for their kids.
Oh, it's horrible.
People fighting for like inheritance. Yeah, so I'm just like, oh my goodness. And I think like the last straw like kind of like helped me make up my mind was that I was reading this case where we are acting on behalf of our client. So we wrote a letter for our client to his ex-wife or something, I think, and it goes something like this. Dear so and so, we are writing on behalf of our client to instruct your client to pick their son up, next, like I don't know, Wednesday at 3 p.m. from school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's like obviously communication has broken down to the point that they can't even communicate about that.
That's ridiculous.
They actually require like their lawyers to be communicating about that. So I realized that I do not want to spend the rest of my life like being depressed. so I decided I was not going to be a lawyer. Yes.
Oh,
and
good.
and then I went on to do a master's in human resources. So I figured that if I would like to work with people, like human resources is makes sense, right? So I went into the bank. I actually had the opportunity to rotate within the human resources department. So I did different things when I was working there. But again, I realized that, all this like big, huge theory that I kind of like learned in school, like it doesn't really apply in the real world because the policy making is like made really way high up, right? Which I am like too low down in the value chain to be making any of these decisions. So I just end up doing like just a lot of paper pushing, right? Just like processing like processing new hires, like processing like terminations. So
Yeah.
that wasn't working out very well as well. But when I was working in the bank, what I did realize or observe was that a lot of my colleagues were single and not dating. And to me, that was
Oh.
like quite curious, like because bankers being bankers, they usually are like very I would say, like eligible, like they dress well, they are attractive, things like that. So I realized the reason why they're still single is because they work really long hours. They do not really have time to date. Like in a way, they're kind of like married to the bank.
Yes.
At the same time, I do have friends, like about the same age group who are like getting married, getting engaged. And I was just wondering what is the main difference, right? So I realized that people who are like getting married, getting engaged, chances are they met their like other half at school or at university. And that's actually where I met my then boyfriend, now husband as well. Like we met at university. Yeah.
Oh, how cool.
So yeah, so that's where I kind of realized that, like it gets a lot more difficult, like when you start coming out to work and things like that. So then I came across the concept of lunch dating, which has been, like really popular in then in like UK, US, Australia. But I mean, again, that was 14 years ago, right? Like nobody else was doing something like that here in Singapore or in fact even Asia. And it was a concept that it really resonated with me because I realized that people need to eat anyway. So instead of eating with someone whom you already know, like why not just take like, one lunchtime a week, a month, to just meet someone that you've never met before, right? And who knows, like this could very well be that's like that special someone. So thought it was a great idea, despite like what I told you just now. Like friends thought I was crazy, family thought I was crazy, but like we charged ahead. Like I started the business with Jamie, like my then boyfriend, now husband, and that was 14 years ago, and we have never looked back. Yeah.
Wow! And so you've just been on this journey, and then you you started your website here, and we're on your website right now, violetlim.com, and living, loving, and learning. And so it's been, and you're really emphasizing the education part. It's not just human nature to stay involved with a relationship. You have to work on it, I guess, right?
Yeah. So you are on my personal blog right now. So I actually enjoy writing, and that's the reason why I decided to write. So our first business is called Lunch Actually. So you can check that out.
Lunch Actually.
Yeah, Lunch Actually. Yeah. People usually like associate it with like Love Actually. Yeah, but yeah, Love Actually is one of my favorite movies. So
me too. I love that movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So so that's how we got started. We started off with Lunch Actually, where we arrange lunch dates, or like it doesn't always need to be a lunch date, but the idea behind it is really like having a meal together, and from there like getting to know each other better, and from there deciding whether you want to continue to meet up. So I think that gave us a very good foundation to what we eventually did, even with our latest project, because the concept behind it is really dating is an offline activity, like it or not, like
yes.
you can like keep chatting like online, like for days, weeks, or months, but the way we see it, it's like chatting or like even like swiping, like swiping the photos, right?
Yes.
It's
very addicting.
It's very
Yeah.
one-dimensional
It is.
or like two-dimensional at most. It's like with the swiping of photos, like you are just looking at a photo, and photos can be deceiving, right? I mean, it's
yes,
like,
they can.
yeah, I mean, some people like look really great at photos, but when you see them in real life, like they kind of look a bit different,
or older,
like,
or fatter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Or it's like someone might not look that photogenic, but when you meet them, you're like, wow, this person looks, this person looks really great, right?
Yes.
So as a result, you kind of have missed out on that opportunity, right? I mean, if you're just looking at looks to decide, that's one thing.
Yeah.
The other thing is that maybe like when you first look at the photo, you're like, oh, okay, like no, this is not really what I'm looking for, but because it's one-dimensional, but when you meet the person in real life, again, then that becomes like 3D or 4D, right? And because of all the other factors, like, this person is like really charismatic, this person, has a really good heart, or this person is someone that you just connect with so well that, the fact that maybe you were not originally attracted to the person's photo, like that just get thrown out of the window. because you're attracted to so many other things about
Yes.
this person. So
That's
again,
great.
like that wouldn't have happened because you just judge the person on the photo, right? So lunch actually, till today, 14 years later, it's still a service that operates on a blind date.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm just going to let that sink in for a while. Yes.
Wow.
And people are quite shocked sometimes, but at the same time, lunch actually have a really high success rate, And I think the reason for that is like we just kind of tell people who believe in what we are doing, believe in our expertise, believe in our experience that, hey, like let's just not focus just on the photo. Right? I mean, you
Of course
trust in
not.
what we are
Yeah.
doing. You trust that, after us meeting you, after us meeting like all the other people that we are going to match up with you, that we are going to give you like the best match that we feel that we can, right?
Yes.
And so they trust that, they go out on the date, they meet one another, they know that there's a reason why the match has been made. From there they get to know each other better.
Yeah.
And yeah, right? So that's really the premise that we do what we do. Like our focus is really to get people to meet as soon as possible and not spend so much time online.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes like the people, their online persona like totally does not match with their offline persona.
Yes. Yes.
It's like, they are like, wow, super chatty, super chirpy, like, on the chat. And then when you meet up with them and you're like, oh, what happened? Right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
you get so wrapped
Yeah.
up in your idea of what that person is over
Yeah.
over the computer, and then you have this relationship on the computer, but then you meet up in person. It's totally different, and there's
Yeah.
no chemistry, no connection, and it just falls apart. And you've wasted all that time. You wasted all that time.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so same thing like for all our products right now, even like with Viola that we are currently like developing, like our focus is really we want to help people to just get offline as soon as possible. I mean, of course, like people want to like just make sure that okay, this person is real, this person is really who he or she say they are. It's like we can ask each other a couple of questions to kind of like ascertain like like that I'm not going to like completely waste my time when we finally meet up, but ultimately like you still need to meet up. Yeah,
You do.
That's really like the focus.
That's the whole point.
And the way we see it is
That's the whole point.
and the way we see it is like the earlier you do it, the better. Like don't like just waste like weeks or months of your time to only be disappointed. And sometimes it's like after you spend like a month talking to this person, they just disappear. Like there's even a term for it. Like it's called ghosting.
Ghosting.
Yeah, so it's like you thought like, wow, having a really great conversation here, and then the person just kind of disappear and just stop replying to you.
Yes.
Yeah,
I may have been guilty of that a few times myself. I think I did. Yeah. So did you date a lot when you were in your teens and 20s? Did you date a lot?
yeah, I did. But obviously, dating then and dating now is like completely different. I mean, the last time I dated was like 18 years ago. So
Did you like dating, or did you like going out? Did you like the whole thing? Did you go on blind dates?
I've never been on blind dates actually, but
No?
yeah. I mean, definitely, like I dated like before, like meeting like my then boyfriend, now husband. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you enjoyed the dating process.
Yeah. I mean, the dating process, it's important to like get to know each other better.
Yeah.
Like I always say that like dating, it's like there's I mean like a relationship has like five stages. Like so from the point that you get to know each other to the point that, to like attraction, to the point of like getting to know each other better, and then to like commitment, or you can call it exclusivity, and then like intimacy, and then engagement, right? And then eventually you settle down.
Yeah.
So I think that the challenge sometimes is that now with like technology, it gets very confusing. Like some people think that they are like in like stage one, when in fact they are someone else think they are in stage two, and there's just a lot of misalignment.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I remember like this person like asking me, this lady was asking me, it's like, am I sure that, like this person that I'm talking to right now, he seems to be really serious about me, like he's like saying all the right things on the chat. Like, how am I sure that he's not talking to like 10 other women. And and my answer to her was pretty brutal, maybe. But I say, yeah, you're right. Probably he is talking to 10 other women.
Yeah, I'm going to say 99.9% of the time he is.
Right?
Yes.
So, but I think, like the thing is that if you are meeting in real life, I mean, it's like if he's having like, breakfast, lunch, dinner with you like on Saturday and Sunday, like he cannot be doing it with the same with 10 other women because he is with you, right? You see him, he's physically there.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
Stay
like,
involved.
that's,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's the important part, right? Like it's just so important to get offline and not just remain online, for whatever reason. Yeah.
That's right. So what do you think about serial daters? Do you think that it's harder for them to make commitments if you start dating so much that you get addicted to it? That is it harder to come offline?
I think that is definitely part of what we are starting to see as well, because like we kind of call it like the paradox of choice. Like in the past, like maybe it's it takes time to get yourself on a date. You need to figure out, okay, how I'm going to meet new people. When I meet them, I kind of need to like figure out, okay, I need to ask them out on a date. It takes a bit longer. Like now, like asking someone out on a date is like really simple. And I think, if you are really hardworking, like you probably can, get yourself a date every single night of the week, or maybe even multiple dates, on every night of the week, which then kind of make like dates become like commodities. It's no longer like as precious. Like when people kind of think like, wow, like I really need to kind of this is really something I look forward to, and I'm going to like do a lot to like make sure it works out, because like I could just be thinking like, wow, I just had another date maybe in an hour's time.
Yeah.
So it is something that it's happening. It's real. I mean, people need to be aware of it. But again, the way I see it, it's like you just need one, right? I mean, like if you're looking for someone, like you just need one, right? So I think ultimately to be upfront of what you're looking out for, and I think when you know what you're looking, the places to look, like obviously, different apps have different reputations.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like, what you're doing, what you're looking for, you go to the right apps that have the right reputation for you. Yeah. And I believe then you would, like eventually meet the right person in that sense. I mean, of course, there will still be serial daters out there, but yeah, I think if you're just very intentional, you know what you're looking out for, like you have certain kind of like, checklist on like who potentially would be a serial dater or who potentially could be a time waster, then yeah. And I think that's where like we see like Viola.AI coming in as well, because again, this is something that we do teach our users, our clients, like during our coaching sessions. So again, it's like not everybody would kind of like jump onto like getting a dating coach in person. But again, like Viola will be able to help users with that. Like people can't say like, yeah, I'm seeing this guy, and these are the tough things that have been happening. And like Viola, who probably have like like crunched through like so many different like data points, and in a way working with so many users, would then be able to highlight some of the red flags as well.
Yeah. Are there going to be people that come on this that they just don't have enough information about them, that it's going to be very hard for them to be part of this, where they're just a very vanilla type of person, they don't have many aspects to their life, that you're going, okay, you need to go get involved with things, you need to expand your horizons?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that would also be part of like what Viola would be helping them with, right? Like exactly like what you say. So because ultimately, like when we work with our singles, is like we always tell them that in order to find someone, it's not so much about like looking for someone to complete you. Yeah, because that's also why a lot of relationships have issues, right? Like because people are just kind of like looking for someone to complete them or make them happy. Like we are like, you need to be happy first, right? Then you are going to go out there and find another happy person.
No one can make you happy. You've got to be happy first.
Yeah, Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, if like someone comes onto Viola and, after like some communications, the data that we receive that, hey, like again, this person probably needs to, start doing more with life, like start having like more hobbies, more interests. Because again, like nobody wants to kind of date someone who like is totally boring, like
No.
have no interest, like, yeah, no passion in life as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Who are the hardest people to date? Who are the if you would what's the hardest people out there to date?
I think like there are so many different categories of people that you can talk about, but I think ultimately it's really people who I feel like people who are just like very dead set in their ways and their thoughts. Yeah, it's like in a way, I would say they are not coachable because I mean, of course, like we are not saying that we need to coach everybody, but it's just like if someone is just is just dead set in their ways, they are not willing to just be open minded, to be positive, to just have a different outlook. It is going to be quite difficult. Yeah.
Yes, it is. And what about
Yeah.
blending families too? Like you get to these people that I'm going to say that probably the majority of people now are divorced and they have kids and stuff, and then you got to blend a family. What
Yeah.
do you ever have to deal with stuff like that?
I would say we are seeing more and more of that, but I think maybe like we are primarily right now operating out of Asia. So I think like maybe in terms of divorces and blended families probably is still lesser as compared to maybe some of the other countries. But yeah, definitely we are seeing more and more of that. And I think people's mindset are also changing. Like in the past, like I remember when we first started, people are quite reluctant to kind of date people who have been married previously, meaning people who are divorced. But now people are getting more and more open to it. And I think like you say that that's also because, more and more people are divorced,
Yes.
If you're kind of just going to say that, okay, I'm not going to date divorcees, then, that kind of like cut off like a big part of the pool as well. I think at the end of the day, it's not the most ideal situation, but at the same time, that is the situation. And I
It's
think
life.
it's
It happens.
yeah, and I think it's just making the best out of it. Yeah, and also to really make the best out of the situation. I mean, I've seen a lot of families or couples who have made it work, and I think like them having I would say experience of marriage that did not work out. I mean, of course, that different research have like shown different things, but I mean, a lot of the couples that I've met, like we have matched together, like maybe two people who have like previous marriage in the past, right? And then they went on a date, and then they it worked out. Eventually they got married again. So I think yeah, it's just really having the awareness, like looking out for the potential red flags, looking for the potential challenges. And really, I think awareness is the most important part, because when you're aware, then you can do something about it.
Yes.
You can kind of preempt it. You can work on it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, it sounds like you know what the heck you're doing, and it's
Thank you.
yeah. Yeah, it sounds like you know what you're doing, and this is great that you have this going on, and I really look forward to keeping up with this, and I encourage everyone to. We're going to have all the links to Violet here in the description below. Check out all of her sites, and if you have any love problems, love questions, we should start our own love show. We should start our own call-in show where people call in and ask dating problems from you.
That would be really fun.
Yeah, we should do that. We have a live show where people can call you up with their problems, lay them all on you.
Yeah. That's an awesome idea. Yeah, why don't we do that? Yeah.
I think we should.
I mean, it's like that's also part of the inspiration, because like growing up, like I'm always like the unagony of my friends. Yeah, they do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I've got all the descriptions here. I've got your information, and so when can we look forward to the ICO dropping again?
So like I mentioned, we are monitoring the markets, but it would be before the end of June for sure. So I think to our listeners who are interested in our project, definitely like get yourself whitelisted on our website, and then you will definitely be the first to know when we launch our public sale.
Okay, well, I'm going to join up on here. I'm going to be. I want to be one of the advisors. I want to tell people how to live their life. I like that.
Awesome, awesome, yes.
And yeah, this is really cool. Okay, so we got everything on here about white paper team, the bounty. Oh, we didn't talk about the bounty. What's the bounty about?
So basically, I mean, the bounty, our bounty program is called Proof of Love. Okay, so
Proof of love. Okay.
yeah, so I mean, basically, like they can, listeners can just come to our website. There are different things that they can do to like show their proof of love, to share about the project, and basically, there would be like different tiers of bounty for that. We also have a program called Transformers. So again, like that's for our like hardcore like supporters, and that would again like give them certain privileges to be part of that group. So yeah, do check it out on our website. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. Well, I encourage everyone to check that out too. So, well,
Yeah.
I know it's morning time for you, right? It's early time.
Yeah, that's right.
Just getting your coffee going. Well, it's almost it's the evening time. I hear Crypto the WonderDog downstairs barking for her dinner tonight. I got to go feed her, and I actually got to hop on an airplane. I'm gonna head into Miami for a few things, and then
Nice.
to a couple other places. But I will be back next week with some more shows, and I think we got to get that down on we got to get this down where we can start doing a live love line show. Okay. All right.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much, Dean. You take care. Have
All
a
right,
good
you
night.
too. Great talking to you again. I love talking to you. You're
Yeah.
awesome. All right. The Doctor of
Thank you.
Love. All right.
Thank you. Okay.
All right,
Take
Violet.
care.
I'll talk to you
Bye.
soon. Bye.
Okay, bye.